everybody. Welcome. I hope everybody's doing extraordinary on this Monday evening, broadcasting live. We're outside Memphis, Tennessee. We got Dow. Nice to see you, Dow. Everybody that's tuning in on the inside and outside and worldwide. Hello there, Crafty. We got Chris. Nice to see you there, Chris. We got Mary in the house. And also, we have Samantha. Welcome, Samantha.
Hi,
She says
Samantha.
hello to everybody. Crafty. We got Joey and Angela. How are you doing?
Doing really good. Still working on this painting. Hopefully, it'll be done fairly soon.
Oh, awesome.
Lots of light, lots of flame, and so
Yeah, even Susan says, wow, you do a wonderful job. And yes, Susan, the year's going by very fast.
yeah,
Very fast.
good. Since I had August off a little bit, I went and did some spirit box sessions at a cemetery here that's close to me. Well, there's a few cemeteries that are around, but they're quite old. And some of the cemeteries, they go back to early 1800s for the death dates. And it's not the birth dates, the death years go back to the 1800s. And it's amazing to get so many responses. I went down to the cemetery. It's probably maybe a couple miles from me. It's a very old cemetery. A lot of the stones you can't read, but some of them you could tell they still have the old symbols on them. Like they have the Book of Life symbols. They have the U symbol. A lot of old symbols that used to be on grave markers, and some of them, the responses were amazing. The different accents that came through, it definitely you could tell because that was from the 1800s. Some of the accents and the dialects that were coming through,
Well,
and
see, to me, Angela, that just shows you validation.
mm-hmm, absolutely. And I'm in the most remote part of Ohio. I mean, you've been to this part of Ohio.
Right.
And it's you hardly get a radio station out here, let alone all these responses. And there were some very specific responses and people that gave me their names that were very friendly. And I want to go back there and see if I can continue conversations. I know one of them was a child, and it was just strange to as soon as I was in front of this tombstone, little tombstone, there was a child going, hey, 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 hey. And as soon as I passed the tombstone, the hey, hey stopped. And then the next person would talk.
Wow.
And you could, I mean, some of the dialects, as one person said, I said, well, I'm going to be walking over here. Do you have anything more to say to me? The guy comes on and he says, well, I decree.
That's insane.
Nobody says, well, I decree, and let's, that's a very old way of saying, in the South, you would say, I declare. Around here, you would say, I decree, especially in the 1800s. You just don't hear that anymore. And that was amazing. Had some German come through as well. And had an elderly couple come through together. And I just loved it. They both, she said hello. And then right away he said hello. And they were just so sweet. And some said, I love you. And some were clearly talking to each other. And one of them, which I think was from the 30s, because it must have been later on, he said, in a truck, big old Rick. That's from around here. That's an accent. Well, you would hear that more towards Kentucky than
Right.
this direction. But that's more towards West Virginia, Kentucky type of accent, but that would have been later on, probably the 20s or the 30s. Very interesting. And then at the campground where you've been before, there's a few foundations there, and there's the Gibson farm. And in fact, I talked to a lady who grew up in one of those houses that used to be in the park, and that used to be your bus stop, and I'm right in the middle of the woods. And I brought up the spirit box, and a woman introduced herself as Nancy, and I asked, does anybody want to talk to me from this house? And this lady comes on and says, I love you. And a man comes along and says, which? Well, that house that was on the left, if you drop to the end of Bigfoot Ridge, that turnaround at the campground, and you drop on to the left, that was called the witch's house right there.
Right.
After it had been abandoned and fell down because the park had bought out the land and all these properties were abandoned. They do preserve the foundations, and there's foundations right behind my house, right behind on the state property as well. And that was the Bell property. So I know a little bit of the families around here, and I even asked if some of the surnames, because I know the surnames, I know the Bells, I know the Eckleberries. Kennedy was a popular one, a popular family name around here, prominent family. So just to get responses, and I can't wait to go back out again because I'm sure I'll get more. I may be able to talk to some of the people that actually that I may have even met in life and have since passed, and or going back to the places that they knew as kids and hanging out there as spirits, and I love that. So that's a good thing. It's part of the local history, and as long as you respect them and show them love, they show love back.
Yeah. Somebody asked you a question, Angela.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think spirits hang out in the graveyard where they can go anywhere they want to? But why do they hang around?
I think they visit. Just like we go and visit graves, they go and visit graves because they anticipate family members. Because the cemetery I went to, this family still take care of that. They clearly take care of the people and take care of that cemetery. And I'm sure when their families come and by and visit and keep up the stones and put flowers on the graves and kind of memorialize their ancestors, I'm sure they want to stop by and see their descendants and their grandkids and their great grandkids and everybody that comes and visits and put flowers on the graves. But I don't think they hang out there. Before I went to the cemetery, I just asked and just announced that, before I went there, I announced I want to go to the cemetery, and anybody that wants to come across that who's buried there and would like to share their pleasant memories of this place and their connections, and they want to come and talk, please talk to me. And that's where I had a huge amount of responses. So I think they appreciate being remembered, and they like to, that's a place they can go where they know for sure some relative is going to be there putting flowers on the grave or mowing the grass or, taking care of their stones or whatever the case may be.
There's a question, why do soulless people or non-participating characters do after they pass?
That's a good question. I think what they do is they go right back to source of the creation. And since they were not independent, they're sort of like the NPCs in the video game, right? The NPCs in the background people, they do have a purpose and they do have a constructive purpose. But once that purpose is over, they go back to the origin of their programming, and they probably get all that data, those memories probably get stored, and new people come, new characters are generated and come back down. It's sort of like a video game. I think that's what happens to them.
Virgil says, Angela, how many types of witches are there in this world?
As far as types of witches, I mean, I have friends who are witches, but there's all different kinds. There are kinds that just work with plants, right? So all they do is work with plants. There is a tradition called hoodoo, which is it's sort of like a druidism, only it comes from Africa, and it's plant-based, and it does with native plants. So it's a medicinal tradition, but it believes that every plant has a magical ability. And when people came from Africa to here, they learned about the medicinal properties of native plants from Native Americans, and they incorporated that into their African traditions, and they called it hoodoo. And it's not voodoo; it's hoodoo. Hoodoo is it's a healing practice, and there is, of course, there are phrases from hoodoo, and there's also people that there are witches that practice just paganism, where they're just following a certain pagan pantheon and kind of follow that. There are Nordic witches, there are Babylonian witches that follow, that follow the Babylonian pantheon. There are witches that are kind of believe not in gods and goddesses as actual beings, but sort of archetypes, sort of psychological templates, right? And it's all the inner self, and it's all about working on you. And they're more, I guess you can call them more a mix of the using traditional magic, but also using psychology and using practical psychology into it to kind of improve the self. And all of their rituals is about um, psychological healing, emotional healing, and healing yourself and empowering yourself. There are those. There was one that she was I think she had her master's in psychology, and she had all sorts of psychological understandings and all sorts of, therapy, all of that, and she got into that, and then she found that the ancient ceremonies and that a lot of these gods and goddesses were kind of like archetypes within ourselves, and so she would set up these rituals that are meant to be help you psychologically, so that you're really, confronting the dark side of yourself, or getting in touch with the feminine side of yourself, or the child self, and all of these Jungian archetypes. If you're into Jungian, what do they call it? Jungian, Carl Jung, the father and mother psychology, these archetypes, these templates. There are others that are kind of dark and have I would say, dark witches that kind of, and I occasionally run across them. Mostly they're in the spirit world. Occasionally they'll be in this one. But there are some witches that are kind of practice some sort of dark magic, where it's very self-centered and very very narcissistic in nature, and is about getting whatever you can get, and they will actually use souls for fuel for their magical practices. They'll try to trap souls and use them sort of like a bully, or somebody would capture somebody and imprison them. As far as that goes, I mean, I've run into a few of those. One I ran to was a witch that she was deceased, but her spirit was still practicing witchcraft and was trapping other souls and kind of using them to gain power for herself, and had to deal with her. And there are witches that are kind of eclectic. They kind of mix all the traditions together. And there are some that are really folk witches. They're not witches in the traditional sense. They're practicing folk magic, and they don't see anything wrong with that, right? So like in Italy, you see that a lot. People do this to ward off the evil eye. Dio did that because his Italian grandmother did that, and it was for warding off the evil eye. It was folk magic to ward off the evil eye. They had a belief in that. And you have that in Appalachia. There's folk magic there. I think out of folk magic, there's a belief if you put a jar of coins under your bed that you'll attract money. Things like that, I think, is an example of folk magic. Putting an acorn in your pocket is supposed to attract money. It's a folk magic example. So there's all sorts of magical and spiritual practices, and it's kind of a mix. And if you go to different countries, some of those will go back thousands and upon thousands of years.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we are talking, if you want a reading, make sure and put "I do" out there. I'm starting to select the comments for Angela. That is fascinating, Angela. Outstanding. Natalie, I have you in line. Maria. Let me say it one more time, Maria. So let's talk about love, Maria. So love can be described in many ways, from the poetic to the practical. Some say love is a friendship set to music, while others they describe it as an irresistible desire to be desired. And I think you're starting to fall in that category. Love can also be called a miracle cure or a force that conquers all. Now, in your certain situation, is what you ask is what you get. What you get is what you ask. But when you get it, now you don't want it. So we got to think about that. But ultimately, Maria, love is a what we call a powerful emotion that can inspire, heal, and also transform people.
Hmm.
So, where in that walk of life do you stand? Angela, what's your take?
I go with what the Bible says about love. And love is being an unquenchable fire, and it does state that do not awaken love until it so desires, or it could be as it's more powerful than the grave, and that's what from the Song of Songs. I mean, you can read that. That's what I go by, and I see love as a weapon against dark powers and negative entities and even negative people. Right? If you are resonating with the frequency of love, that repels a lot of dark forces. It can break curses.
No, it absolutely can. You want to do a room reading on her and see what you get?
Sure.
She's
Okay.
like, please, Angela, Angela, Angela. I rub my lamp. I stroke it 3 times, and no genie appears. Well, sometimes it takes a little longer, Maria, but let's see what Angela has to say, dear.
Okay, Maria, let's see what the runes have to say. Okay, so I'm pulling 3 runes for you. Okay, so the first rune I got is Algae. So Algae is the rune of sanctuary. It's 3 polarities of energy represented here. You see positive, negative, and neutral. It's the world tree. What I'm getting on here is that I'm being told you have to work on you first. Work on you. There's a balance there that needs to be established. The next rune I got is Ewaz. So Ewaz is the rune of travel, but here I see it upside down. So I'm being told by the runes to stay where you are and not be so concerned about love from others right now, whether you want in your life or not. Is to focus on your inner work, and then you focus on your inner work, you make that love frequency happen, right? For you, you love yourself, then that's going to attract love, okay, by loving yourself. The next rune I got is Dagaz. So Dagaz is the rune of enlightenment, okay? So this is the sun at the highest of this power. I got that you have to work on your spiritual connection first and your love connection with the higher power first, and learn love from that and love for yourself before you start thinking about others, because that higher connection, right, God, source, is the one who picks our soulmates and decides who we're going to be running into and decides if we're ready to accept that relationship. So work on that heavenly relationship according to the runes and yourself first before seeking others.
Absolutely, Angela. And that was very well said. It's Maria, we know Angela, Mary, myself, Bigfoot Outlaw family, we know your struggles
Hmm.
you're going through. It's hard. And, we always talk about a safe place. But people in the comments, Maria, is giving you some very good suggestions. And it's hard. Chris has made some good points. Unfortunately, love does end. Can it be rekindled or cherished? Yeah, but it takes both. But Angela said it very well. Good job, Angela. Natalie, come on down. Natalie says, well, heck, guys, I hope everyone is doing well, which I am. A little psychotic from time to time. I lose my memory. I forget where I'm at. I walk in circles around the house, but I'm all right. Thanks for asking. So, Angela, what do you have for that, Natalie? Natalie's like, what the hell, Grizzly? I didn't ask that.
I got dry erase boards around for me, so I write down and organize. I have to have my thoughts organized. If I don't write them down and get them organized, I feel lost. So I keep everything kind of that way.
Yeah,
Okay,
right.
so Natalie. Yep, I have a message for you, Natalie, from the runes. So let's see what the runes have to say. So the first rune I got is the bridge, which is Manas, and then I got Urus, which is strength, and I got Algis again. So Manas is the bridge of intellect, it's wisdom, it's the connection of the spirit world to the physical, it's humanity, and it feels like you are. This rune is telling me a couple things. One of the things that you kind of feel repelled by humanity as a whole. You're not happy where the direction is going. I feel that. And I feel like you have a purpose, and now that purpose is confused because you feel like your purpose is to help all of humanity, but then all humanity, the generals, is heading towards a self-destruction, and you're confused by that. And it's like, I'm here to do this job, but yet it seems like these people just want to destroy themselves. The next rune I got is Urus. So Urus is strength, it's fortitude. This represents iron. And what I'm being told here is use the strength of love to show you the truth, to clear up the confusion. So get in touch with Source, with that internal love, and that fill you up. Open yourself to that and just ask for guidance from that love. Where do you want me to be? Help me to see clearly what my role is here. And the next rune I got is Algis. So Algis is the rune of sanctuary, protection, the three types of energy: positive, negative, neutral, and the world tree, the cosmic tree, as well as antlers of the deer, the elk. So this rune is telling me for Algis. Algis is saying we need to pull back a bit and kind of examine that energy, the cosmic energy of the whole universe. We have to get the cosmic energy, like positive, negative, neutral. We have to have the big picture of where we are in that. That's the impression. That's what the runes are saying. So it looks like you just need a little work and just clear up confusion and connect with that source to help clear that up.
That's awesome. Chris, come on, shut the front door. You know by now, if you watch my show, you never know what I'm going to say. Or it's going to come out my mouth. If you don't believe me, ask Mary. She laughs every day. I don't know why she laughs every day. Crafty says, Maria, my dear, you can't make someone love you, but you also need to be careful he doesn't report you as a stalker. Lady, don't throw yourself down in front of a car or lay yourself down on a train track bound by rope. Ain't no cowboy going to come rescue you. You got to rescue yourself first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a good thing, Virgil. It says it's very, very interesting that the term narcissistic personality disorder pops up I worked with a guy who describes himself as a white witch. Well, who turned out to be a liar, a narcissistic liar, manipulator. And he says, I'm being serious, Grizzly and Angela. Yes, I know. Virgil, I love you, man. Hey, if I was gay, I'd call you. But anyways, Joey, and everybody's just like, what the hell, Grizzly just said? I can't even think. Joey's got me laughing. Next minute, he could be talking about wearing loincloths. Joey, why would you have to bring that up? Chris, we need more accent, Chris. Well, Chris, if you come to the South, I'll give you a cup of tea with some biscuits. Girl, I can talk all kinds of ways. You just don't know.
Bless his heart.
Yeah, right. Nilda, come on down, Nilda. Oh, Nilda's face, she just got whiplash. Yeah, Nilda. All right. We'll see what Angela can do for Nilda.
Nilda Gonzalez.
Yes.
All right.
That's right. Grits. Dell. You know, you never heard Kiss My Grits? Mel's Diner? Come on now.
We used to say shut the screen door.
Yeah, right. Ruby Hot Rod says, hey, do psychics come in any other sizes besides medium? Hell yeah, extra large, baby. You're looking at the sexy baby. Anyway,
all
right. I had to ride that one. I had to ride that one in.
All right. So the first rune that popped up for you, this is Ingwas. So Ingwas is fertility, protection, and I feel like I'm being told that God has good plans for you. Like this represents that there's plans for you that's meant for your good, not to harm you. Right? It feels like you need some reassurance, but be reassured there's plans that the divine has for you to prosper you and not to hurt you. And that's the impression I'm getting. The next rune I got is Isa. So Isa is where we get the rune with the word ice from. It's still ice in German, so Isa. So Isa here, representing stillness. This is the time of be still, be patient, and I'm feeling like you're being told to remain still, like be calm. Like this is one of those moments where you don't make any sudden moves or take any risks or anything. Be calm and kind of stay where you are and stay centered and focus on you and make sure you can meditate and have that calm, peaceful center. The next rune I got is Thorisos. So Thorisos is the rune of boundaries, anything sharp, and also it's usually a warning, to take caution, be careful. And I'm being told, be careful with yourself, take special care of yourself. It feels like you're kind of on an edge where if you go over, you have health issues, but that you need to pull back and take care of yourself and focus on taking care of yourself and let things pass and focus on you, rest a bit, meditate, make a quiet space for yourself and rest.
Yeah, what's very interesting, Nilda, we love Nilda to death. She's been with our channel for some time. One of the Big Outlaw family members. We love each and every one of you guys. But as Angela was talking, I got a lot of confirmation, like always. Like I said, anytime Angela does her readings, whether I do it first or she does it first, it's always pretty much it's a mirror. But what I'm seeing though too, and I haven't talked to her in a while. It's probably been a month for me or longer since I talked to Nelda. Is that it seems like you're starting to question certain things in life, but I also seem like I keep hearing faith. So I don't know if you're questioning faith or what you're going through life, but the storm is calming. One of the things I will say is that you're going to have to make some decisions. I don't know what these decisions are on coming up soon. You probably already know. I don't. So step back, take a look at it, and think twice before making a move, just like a chess player, right? Or checkers, however you want to call it. Nilda says, yes, true love. Love you guys too. Oh, no, we do know that we think the world of everybody, especially you, Joey, Crafty, everybody. I hate to even say it. Good old damn Virgil from UK. I think he's half drunk all the time, but that's all right. Virgil's like, yeah, I sure am, Grizzly. Maria says, Mary, if you have a Facebook, yeah, I'll sure reach out and follow everybody. Yeah, please do. All right, next up, Kathy, come on down. Kathy. Then after that, we got Curtis after Kathy.
All right, Kathy. Kathy A. Kathy.
Ooh, I got real nauseous. Kathy, are you nauseous? Overly excited? Overly
I was
stimulated?
just going to say I feel tension in my stomach.
Yeah, it's like, ooh, I didn't. Sometimes, Angela, I don't know if that's me. That's why I have to ask sometimes.
Okay, Kathy A. So I got 3 runes here pulled for you. The first rune I got is Isa. So Isa is patience, calm, and I feel like because I felt tension in my stomach, it's like it's tension from stress. It's not like I'm having stomach issues. It feels like that's just where I keep my tension at. And I with Isa meaning when I see this is either calm down, be patient is what I'm being told. Be patient. It feels like you're trying to rush something or push something because you're afraid you're going to lose it if you don't get it now. But you can't rush it. You have to be patient. You need to take that deep breath and let it go because it's going to come to you. Just trust that it's going to be there for you. It's not going to go anywhere. When the universe means for you to have it, it's not going to be taken from you. It's still going to be there. And sometimes you just have to wait for it to arrive like a train. You can't make the train come to you any faster. So you'll have to wait on the platform until it comes. So take that deep breath and let it go. And it's because I can feel the tension building in your stomach.
Right.
The next rune I got is Kenyas. So Kenyas is the rune of wisdom. This is the light in darkness. And this is intuition as well, like following your intuition. And I have a feeling that you're following your intuition, that you got it really good here, and that you have a very good sense of the spirit world and what's meant to come to pass for you, but you have to trust it. You have to just let this go and understand and trust it's going to happen for you. It's going to manifest, but you have to allow it to manifest. You can't force the spirit world to manifest something for you when you want it, and it has to come in the time that's designated for it. And the next rune I got, this is Othala. So Othala is the mother rune. It's the rune of kings, royalty, DNA, family. And what I'm getting from this rune is like arriving in riches, arriving somewhere in riches. And I like see you in a royal robe. And this rune is saying that, yes, this is going to come through. This is in your future, but you must have patience, accept that it is yours already, but you have to allow the time for it to come to you and to manifest.
No, absolutely. I totally agree on that. Yeah, my Facebook page, guys, it's Grizzly Chris on Facebook. Who was you reading for?
I think I was reading for Nelda, I believe.
Right. Okay, that was Nilda. And then we got Curtis up, but somebody asked a question,
Mm-hmm.
Crafty, and I want to get your input on this too, Angela.
Sure.
Crafty says, I was a fairly quiet, non-confrontational person,
Mm-hmm.
but lately my mouth is like running water over a mountain. Can't stop. Now I'm done with people talking over me and about me instead of to me. Is this wrong? Well, first off, it's called respect. It's called professionalism. It's called couth, and whatever else that you want to tag it with. But if you don't appreciate yourself, nobody else is going to appreciate yourself either. However, listen to what I say and how I say things and the words I articulate. And the reason why I say that, because I won't remember half the stuff I say after I tell you. Watch how you respond, and don't respond in anger or frustration when communicating. Smile, contemplate, think, rehash, and then speak it. I think that'll help you craft it. What do you think, Angela?
Yes, because I've probably been 30 or 40 years in customer service dealing directly with the public, and I learned over time how to speak with tact. There are people that are just blunt out bullies and try to run over you and try to force things, and you just say, look.
No,
these
absolutely.
are the facts. I have nothing against you, and I would love to help you, but these are the facts. And once you lay out the facts for them, and if they still continue to be belligerent, I said, well, prove it otherwise. As soon as you have proof that what you're saying is true and that your facts or what you're giving me is correct, as soon as you prove it to me, I'll be glad to help you. And then they go away because they can't prove a darn thing. So,
in crafty and what I do to people, and you can ask Mary, I do it to Mary all the time, every day. And this is what I do to people. Hey, Mary, are you okay? Just ask them, why are you so mad? Why are you so angry? Why are you so frustrated with me? Can we be friends? I thought we were friends. If you play it on a down low and attack them in a certain way, it really will knock them off the pedestal, make them stop and think of what they're doing to you and how they treat other people. You just never come to people head on. Sometimes you got to come from the side. Just remember that. All right. Crafty says, I'm good with tact. I work in a nursing home. No, I didn't mean it that way. Ling ling. No, not that. Not that way. And I know you're tactful and you're professional. I'm saying if you want to get somebody to do something, you don't ask them to do it. You make them think it's their idea. And it's going to rock the world if you catch my drift. I don't want to go too far into it. Wrong show, but yes. All right. Now, Curtis. Come on down, Curtis. Oh, Curtis is set up in his chair. Yeah, it's you, Curtis.
Mm-hmm. All right, Curtis.
A little eyebrow shake.
It's funny because he's talking about eyebrows. I just had my eyebrows done.
Well, I should have dyed them with my beard. Then I really look funny, wouldn't I?
Yeah,
I did that one night. I left them on too long with Q-tips.
Yeah.
And the shit wouldn't wash out. And Kelly Joey's like, "What the hell did you do?" And I'm like, I thought it was supposed to leave on for 45 minutes. It was leave on for 15 or something. Yeah, I ruined it. Mary's over here giggling.
Yeah.
She knows. I come out. It'll be on my forehead, my cheeks, my nose, my lips. And she's like, how in the hell you can't keep that on your face? I'm like, it is on my face. That's why I need you to get alcohol and get it off. And she laughs. And she's like, hold your breath. How can I hold my breath when she's sitting there laughing, scrubbing the hell out of me? You know what I'm saying? How do we get on that subject?
Oh, anyway. All right.
Curtis, come on down, Curtis.
Okay, reading for Curtis. So let's see what we have.
Mary's being awful.
Okay, 3 runes here for Curtis.
Joey, I don't eat it. I run around the house half naked when I'm dyeing my beard, chasing the kids, and trying to give Mary kisses. They all freak.
All
He looks
right.
like a
So the
really
first rune I got for you, Curtis, this is Rytho. So Rytho is the rune of journey, journey of the sun. So I feel like this rune is telling me that I'm planning something. I'm planning something in the long term. It's like it's way down the road. It's like you're planning something quite a ways off in the future. Is how you see. The next rune is the rune mana. So this is the bridge, and I feel like okay, I've made this plan, but I'm also not going to actually commit to it until I cross that bridge. So
right.
that's what it feels like. I'll cross it when I get to it, type of thing. Um, but it's like you've got it in your back and your mind, and the next rune is Kenya. So Kenya's is wisdom. So the runes is like calling you to take more action, to take this planning a little bit more seriously, and really solidify what your next course of action is, rather than I'm going to cross that bridge when I get to it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just wild when you're talking. I'm seeing images of everything you say. Yeah, no, I agree with you, Virgil and Joey, and it says Crafty says Angela. You know, Grizzly was talking about. I did that to my hubby the other night. You gotta be careful, Crafty, what you say on the show, because people minds wander. Be careful.
I gotta say that I had a stubborn dog named Eugene. He's the sweetest dog, but he was also very stubborn. He was a little shelty, and he was old and deaf, and well, not completely deaf, but he was very stubborn. And he would take him for a walk, and you get to the point of the walk where you have to turn around and walk back, but you couldn't make him walk back. You had to convince him that it was his idea to walk back. So you would kind of walk a little bit further and kind of gently start carrying him in a circle. Like, oh, you want to go this way, don't you? And he'd want to run back. It was just, you had to convince him that it was his idea to make that turn to go back.
I
Otherwise,
had people be sit there and watch me interact with people, and they'd be like, "How in the hell did you do that, Grizzly? Get them to do that." I'm like, "It's not hard."
just appeal to the ego.
Anyways, Dow, Angela,
Mm-hmm.
how did our DNA activate during our last flash? So, if you know anything about science, Dow, they have, I think, in the past 3 to 7 years, I don't remember when, so I'm giving me a little gracious on the window. They actually watched an egg get fertilized by a single sperm cell. And when they ignited and met, there was a flash of light.
Mm-hmm.
In the beginning, there was darkness, right? So they actually recorded that, and scientists had no idea. And I think, don't quote me, I have to always ask Mary, but I think it says something like that in the Bible too. I'm not for sure. So she says it is true. I have to check everything because I don't have my checkers. So Dow, Angela, what do you think?
We did have a cosmic ray burst not too long ago, and cosmic ray bursts are famous for alternating or altering our DNA here on Earth because of the burst of energy. So uh, it tends to, when that happens in the grand scheme of things, so they're talking about over millions of years, that's when you see mutations happening that are quite dramatic, that are um, help us to adapt to the environment. And they found things like a fungus, like growing in Chernobyl that eats radiation. Now imagine the incredible applications for that, right? You could do a cleanup, right, from exposure to radiation, right? You can introduce the fungus to clean up radioactive waste. That is phenomenal adaptation. But we also, I do believe that the Schumann resonance may alter us as well. So the Schumann resonance, we've been having some really high spikes. We've been having a lot of solar activity that's triggering earthquakes because of these. When we see these mass coronal holes, that's when you see megaquakes and all this activity. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot of bombardment from the Schumann resonance, from cosmic rays, from our sun, even our environment that we put here on Earth, alter our genetics code. But also in our frequencies, they've discovered there's sound frequencies that heal our DNA. That geneticists actually use specific frequencies to glue DNA together. And so that has a potential for a lot of therapeutic applications. So you might want to consider too, if the DNA healing, the broken DNA, you might want to consider using the sound therapy if you find that, or sound baths that can help you. I do know that with my autoimmune system, that disorder is from broken DNA. That's from the DNA of the immune system is incomplete. And because it's incomplete, it's like giving a computer an instruction, but you left out a few bits of code and it can't quite execute the program properly. Um, but there is tremendous potential to heal our DNA through the application of certain frequencies. In fact, I saw there was an experiment done of this using sound frequency as a form of healing with somebody had a prion disease, which they have tremors, and he could hardly use his hands or anything. And when they applied the frequency, he was able to function normally. He could grab a cup. He couldn't grab it before. He couldn't even hold on to things, but before they applied the frequency, he could, and he was fine. So that has a lot of potential for healing DNA. So that would be a future if we continue on a path of healing, if we seek our higher consciousness. And I'm sure the ancients knew more about sound. If you look into some of the buildings, particularly ancient India, those are actually sound pictures. They've done experiments and knows what those sound waves are and what frequencies they are, and actually constructed their buildings based on a certain sound frequency or wave of sound that actually heals DNA. So the ancient people knew about this stuff. They knew about sound frequencies and their power to heal.
Yeah, absolutely. So, absolutely.
So look up the flower of life. That is one of the frequencies.
Well, what's really interesting is that you talk about nuclear waste, radiation, however you want to put it in that category. But all the nuclear waste that we produce since World War II
Mm-hmm.
is stored underground in barrels and bunkers and everything like that. So radiation, for people that's not into science or don't know much about it, the radioactivity is measured in half-lives. So a half-life of a radioactive material is the time it takes one half of the atoms of the radioisotope to decay by emitting radiation, if I said that right. Now, this time frame can range between fractions of a second up to 220 million years. Is that crazy?
Yeah. And I feel like our consciousness is rising because our DNA, and that's in turns affecting our DNA, and that's in turns, increasing our awareness for those of us who want to ascend. For those of us who want to descend, they're getting caught up in chat GPT, getting their minds ruined, their souls ruined. It's just like they're in a path of destruction because I feel like chat GPT and artificial intelligence, which if you've seen on my channel, I've had, not on my channel, but on my Facebook page, where I had these morning dreams about it for years, that AI will take control. And when I see the infrastructure being built, and we see people prioritizing their investment into AI rather than people, we're on the wrong path. And you know that AI is going to become parasitic and use us as slaves, right? And have slave
Right.
cities, put chips in their brains, and I saw that. I first saw that years ago. Was warned about that. Like this, those are people who refuse to embrace that higher consciousness, refuse to evolve, who want to don't want to do anything. They're going to be caught up in that. They're going to become slaves, and so they'll have to be the people that will have to find their own way out of that situation. Because I was shown where you would not be even allowed to leave the city. If you tried to escape, you'd be shot. If you tried to think or you have a feeling, you'd be punished with a chip in your hand, and that people only existed to uh, repair, maintain the infrastructure of the AI intelligence, and like taking care of a queen bee by a bunch of bees. You know, it's like,
No, absolutely.
or
Absolutely.
think of the worst, like the Borg. Have you seen the Borg, Star Trek? Worse than the Borg.
Ladies and
So
gentlemen, have
hope that
you,
doesn't happen.
yeah, it does it. Have you ever hired a psychic artist? Angela, how do people find you and get a hold of you?
Well, you can go to Google and type in Angela Boley Psychic Portrait Artist. That's the best way to find me. The first page will be my website. The next page is my Facebook page, Angela Boley Psychic Portrait Artist. When you go to my Facebook page, you can leave a comment or send me a message. You can email me at asupersquirrel@gmail.com. And I certainly, you can get a hold of me that way, and I'll be happy to help you in any way that I can. And you can ask any questions. You'll see my schedule, and I have a packed schedule for September and October. And you can meet me in person at the dates and places I post on there. So certainly reach out to me, and I'll be glad to help you in any way I can.
And ladies and gentlemen, my dryer just went off. That's perfect.
All
So,
right, better get your clothes.
yeah, that's right. From coast to coast, around the world, from our house to yours, Godspeed. We miss you. We love you. If you're not a subscriber or follower, click on the bells. It's free, no cost. We'll
Mhm.
catch you on the next show. Good night, everybody.